Everyone here this evening and to the viewers at home, welcome. Ask if there's any conflict of interest amongst the council members. No, thank you very much. And as you can see, we're all in attendance this evening. Only one of our young ladies is not here, Lauren Abbott. Hopefully she'll show up later. Looking for the adoption of the published agenda for May the 16th. Councillor Caxero, Deputy Mayor Malash.
Sorry, Your Worship. We're seeking to add the new business bylaw 1518, which is a bylaw to authorize a connection agreement with Elk Energy. This bylaw was just circulated to council last Friday.
Any other additions? Councillor Bondi.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just an addition of a reminder of the May 25th public meeting in Harrow Centre later, and also a notice about the Ontario-wide referendum that is taking place May 28th, the healthcare referendum, in new business section, please.
Thank you. Anything else? All in favor? Motion carries. Sorry. No problem.
Adoption of minutes. Adoption of the May 2nd regular council meeting minutes.
Moved by Councillor Snively, supported by Councillor Caxero. Any questions? All in favor? Motion carries.
Item 4B, March 21st, consideration of report meeting for Jenner Drain for adoption.
Moved by Councillor Vogt, supported by Councillor Caxero. Questions? All in favor? Motion carries.
Your Worship, our public presentation for this evening is Mr. Gordon Orr, CEO, and Lynette Bain, Vice President, Tourist Programs and Development, coming here from the Tourism Windsor Essex Peely Island to speak to the 2016-17 Visitors Guide.
Welcome on that, and Mr. Orr.
Thank you very much, Your Worship, and members of Essex Town Council. My name is Gordon Orr. I'm the CEO of Tourism Windsor Essex Peely Island. With me, I'm joined by Lynette Bain, our Vice President of Tourism Programs and Development, and in the audience is our Director of Marketing and Special Events, Mr. Chris Racine. We're here tonight as part of a commitment that was made about 5 years ago when we assumed the leadership roles at Tourism Windsor Essex Peely Island. We promised that we would attend council on regular meetings on a regular basis, but not only at the city and the county levels, but also at the local level at each town council. This is the 5th of 8 visits we're doing. For example, we had the pleasure of appearing last Monday before Amherstburg and Kingsville Town Councils, and next week we're headed to Lakeshore and Tecumseh Town Councils. And we do this for a couple of reasons. First of all, we want to make sure that our elected officials are better informed about the importance of tourism as an industry and our activity designed to derive our fair share of the tourism market. And secondly, to provide you an opportunity to ask any questions that you may have in the forum that's provided here this evening. Tonight we're here, as you heard, with our latest edition of the 2016-2017 Visitor Guide, which is hot off the press, and we have a brief PowerPoint presentation to go through as well, highlighting our 2015 year in review, our areas of focus for 2016, and some key performance indicators year over year for 2014-2015. But before we start the PowerPoint presentation, I'd like to remind Council that tourism is a significant economic generator for this region. Our latest data indicates that we have an annual visitation of 4.8 million visitors a year coming to this region, who generate close to $500 million in economic activity, and they help support some 16,000 jobs. Now we'll enter into the PowerPoint presentation. So our vision and mission, we want to be a top-of-mind destination offering authentic and diverse visitor experiences, and our mission is to work as a tourism industry collaborative committed to enhancing our region's economy and quality of life. Our mandate is built around 4 key functions that are part of how we're going to build a united tourism industry. And they are marketing communications, visitor services, event attraction, and product and program development. We have a board of directors. We're governed by our executive team, includes from the county, Mayor Nelson Santos, who's our chair, and also our directors there. You can see Warden Tom Bain is a member of the board, as well as Mayor John Patterson from Leamington. 11 members. It's a mix of course, politicians and stakeholders, and that rounds out our organizational chart. I'd like to turn it over now to Lynette, please.
All right, thank you, Gordon. What we're looking at now is our 2015 year in review, and you have that document in front of you. It's something that we compiled to see what we've accomplished together within a united tourism industry. And it was a comprehensive document that we actually circulated to all council back in early March, and we want to highlight just a few of some of our noteworthy accomplishments. We were actually fortunate to be nominated and win some awards. The first I want to mention is our 2015 Ontario Tourism Marketing Partnership Award, and we were winner of the Regionalism and Cross-Border Collaboration Marketing Award through EDCO, and that was for the launch of the Henry Ford audio driving tours, and the first award was for a collaboration with the Art Gallery of Windsor and the Windsor Essex Endowment for the Arts to celebrate the triennial of contemporary art, and it was where we brought some exhibits outside of the gallery and included parts of the county. In destination development, we had a unique new product where we brought together some regional farmers markets, and we were able to get some funding from OMAFRA through the Local Food Fund with a collaborative effort and a dedicated microsite highlighting city and county markets and seasonal events, complete with a map to help consumers navigate each one. So we wanted, if someone was used to visiting one market, to have the idea to find a new one and spend more money on local food. Something else we had new for us was a Taste of Place workshop, and that was part of our culinary strategy. And we focused on making this region as a food and drink destination, ensuring market readiness and growing and serving local. And that was actually held at the Canadian Transportation Museum. In event development, which is one of our mandates, we focused on the American Society of Association Executives Convention, and we had 5,000 meeting planners and association executives converge in Detroit for the first time. TWEPI, in partnership with Caesars Windsor, our convention center, exhibited at the trade show in Cobo Hall and helped sponsor their golf outing. You'll see our marketing campaign, one of the marketing campaigns up on the screen, the 60 Days, 60 Reasons. It was a social media campaign that ran over last summer, focusing on our key area of food and drink as a driver. We also launched the Best of Windsor Essex campaign for the first time. It was, again, a social media campaign designed to have locals tell us the best of the best in Windsor Essex in a variety of categories to help promote to the visitors where the locals like to go. And in reference to our marketing plan and destination development strategy, which we have also handed out to you, we've determined 4 main areas of focus for our product and programs. That's arts and culture, focusing on cultural districts and garden tourism, outdoor adventure through 2-wheeled adventures and waterfronts. Those are products like birding, beaches, paddling, boating. On food and drink, the culinary tourism, and a new product that we're launching called Barrels, Bottles, and Brews, along with our basic staple of our wine country that's always a focus. On the entertainment side, the ongoing promotion of gaming, events, and shopping. Now, our current creative campaign is on the screen, and it's our Plenty of Reasons. So if you're ever tweeting about the region, you want to make sure you're using the hashtag Plenty of Reasons, because we're really promoting all the great things that we are blessed with in Windsor, Essex, and Pelee Island with all of our numerous tourism assets. We have not one huge local iconic attraction, but many plenty of reasons to visit and reasons why you'll love this place.
Thank you, Lynette. In 2015, we held focus groups with our stakeholders, our board, and our staff, and came up with our board-endorsed 2016 to 2020 strategic plan that centers around 3 strategic directions, each with a series of strategies to drive implementation and the outcomes desired. They are growing the tourism industry and visitor experiences, maximizing key industry partnerships and relationships, and building our capacities to support the tourism industry. We also want to share a few of our key performance indicators, which we mentioned. There are some year-over-year figures. You can see our hotel stats are up about 3.6%. Average daily room rate up a little over $5, which is good. You can see American residents entering Canada year-over-year was up close to 13%. On the marketing side, you can see that our page views on our website were up 17%. And our Facebook and Twitter followers jumped dramatically, actually, 59% and 39%, respectively. And in front of you is our new 2016-2017 official visitor guide. This is, of course, an 84-page document, which grew from 80 pages in the past based on demand. and we have 139 listings and 54 advertisements. We print 110,000 copies of this guide, and we distribute them throughout Ontario, Michigan, and Ohio at key destination points. And lastly, our last slide is we would like to remind Council that our annual general meeting is on, when is it? Tuesday, it's Thursday. Maybe I should write this down myself. Thursday, June 16th, from 11:30 to 2 o'clock at Caesars Windsor. This is our annual general meeting where we're inviting a guest speaker that Lynette and I have heard in a variety of capacities. He's a best-selling author and Detroit champion who is a key influencer, helped shape the renaissance of Detroit's IT sector. Please save the date, and we've already sent out now registrations already starting to trickle in, so we hope you can join us there. And lastly, I'd be remiss, Mr. Mayor, if I didn't thank a few of your key staff that we work with on a collaborative basis year-round. Lori Brett in Communications, of course, the recently retired Ann Muskowski in Economic Development, and your Director of Community Services, Doug Sweet, of course, from the Recreation side. And we thank them all very much for their leadership and support of our organization. So thank you very much for letting us take this time with you this evening, and more importantly, thank you for continuing to invest in tourism, and of course your support of Tourism Windsor Essex PLI. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any questions of the delegation? Councillor Vokes?
Thank you, Your Worship. Gordon and Lynette, first of all, I'd like to thank you for coming tonight. I was reflecting on your official visitors guide. It's very balanced in terms of equalities from municipality to municipality in terms of what has taken place. So for us, obviously, with our wineries and a lot of our events taking place, the announcements in terms of tourism is very vital to us. So my hat's off to you for obviously doing that footwork and that legwork, working with our administration and getting this book out, because again, going through it briefly, Essex has mentioned several, right up to some of our smaller places in Harrow are actually mentioned in here. So I just want to take the opportunity to thank you for that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor, for the comment, and we are happy over the last 5 years or so, our stakeholder engagement is the highest it's been, and we're finding that as we continue to reach out and to the different towns and work with administrations, we're reaching more of our tourism partners, so thank you for that.
Anything else? Anyone else? Councillor Bjorkman?
Thank you, through your worship. Again, thank you very much for your work you're doing on our behalf. We've been to a couple of, Councillor Kexera and I were just at the tourism seminar up in Chatham and enjoyed and really learned a lot there. My question would be, as the numbers are growing and we're getting more and more people coming to see us, one of the things that people are looking for is somewhere to stay. And we've got lots of places to stay in Windsor and only a couple in the county. Is there a sense, are you dealing with, are you hearing any rumors of people that are looking to maybe put up a hotel, some sort of residence inn, something like that out in the county? Because it would be great, working through you and with you, to be able to have some place when people come out here to the county and are enjoying themselves to stay here overnight. Sure. is a big thing. So just wondering, as far as numbers and how things are growing, do you see that as something that could be in our future?
It's a good question, Councillor. Thank you for the question. I think that as occupancies start to grow, and we saw some of that year over year, you're going to start to see more interest. We've had a few more inquiries that have just been based on how our hotel's doing in the area, what's the market doing, what's the total visitation in the region. But they've been more informal at best. I know that our bed and breakfasts are certainly growing throughout the region. They're certainly enjoying the opportunity. One thing that we are looking at, of course, is Airbnb, because that's becoming quite a challenge in some markets as well, and we'll see what happens there. But at the end of the day, we do have a lot of hotel capacity, as you mentioned, whether it be in Leamington and or Windsor proper. And until those numbers start to really see some growth, I don't think you'll see a hotel necessarily built as much as a number of our different towns would love it, that's for sure. The good news is the transportation to and from the different venues is increasing. So as you continue to see that, and that's one reason why we're strong advocates of regional transportation, I think what you'll start to see is more people, if they might stay in the city, they'll still venture out more into the county to enjoy the tourism amenities.
Anyone else? Well, thank you very much for your presentation, and Have a good evening.
Our pleasure. Thank you very much.
Motion to receive.
We have a motion received. Councillor Bondi, and seconded by Councillor Caxero. All in favor? Motion carries.
Item 6, unfinished business from the May 2nd, 2016 meeting. Councillor Bondi on the issue of the new school in Kingsville and the land swap.
Councillor Bondi?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just looking to see if our clerk can schedule a meeting with Mayor Santos from Kingsville and any interested members of council. Unless a meeting has taken place, I just wanted to see if we could meet with him to talk about options with Harrow High. The last article I read in the newspaper, the last line in the article said, Mayor Santos said the door is always open. So I don't know if a meeting has been scheduled yet, but I would like to be part of that if a meeting has not been scheduled yet.
Councillor Caxero has a little bit of an update from last week, having talked to Mr. Santos.
Through your worship, I had the opportunity to talk to Nelson when we were up at conference for OAPSB. I conveyed the message that we would be interested in maybe being part of the conversation with the school board as they venture off and finding out where they're going to build this new school and whether the property is available for them in Kingsville. And I mentioned to him that we were interested in the property in Harrow. He certainly was receptive to councils getting together and having a discussion if we wanted to do that. So certainly it'd just be a matter of us setting up something to meet with their council.
And Mr. Auger has that all lined up for us. Thanks. Deputy Mayor Malash.
Thank you, through your worship. And as far as I was listening to the presentation when Liz Sandals was down announcing the Kingsville money, and about her, it wasn't her who actually said about the public grade school kids going to Kingsville, but it was something about, there was someone else that said it that was on the board. Aaron Kelly. But I was talking with Mayor Santos as well about that item, and what he explained to me was that the numbers that they have going to the school, like the numbers that they talked about being at the new school, wouldn't tie in if they included the Harrow public grade school, the grade 6s and under. Now, I'm not sure about the grade 7s and 8s, but it was explained that they'd have to get portables if they wanted to bring any more students than the footprint of that school. They'd have to get portables to bring anything more to that school than what's already been talked about. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 7, reports from administration. 7A, Community Services, report number 2016-014, Harrow Health Center, McGregor Satellite Offices lease with 3 recommendations. Report for receipt, and further that council approve a renewal agreement with the health center to lease and operate the medical offices for an additional 12 months, subject to the terms and conditions as outlined in bylaw 15, and further that bylaw 1513 receive a first and second reading.
Moved by Councillor Caxero, supported by Councillor Bjorkman. Any questions? Councillor Caxero.
Through your worship, I'll also move the recommendations.
Any questions? All in favor? Carried.
Report 7B, Corporate Services, Clerk's Report on Closed Council Meetings. Earlier this evening, Council, by motion, moved into closed session to consider business as permitted to do so under Section 239 of the Municipal Act. In the continuing interest of transparency, I am reporting in public session any outcomes that can be reported from that closed session business. As a result of this closed session, wish to report that the minutes of the May 4th, 2016 closed personnel committee meeting minutes were adopted as presented, and pursuant to sections 239, 2B, and 2E of the Municipal Act, updates were provided by administration concerning various ongoing litigation or potential litigation matters. That's the extent of my report.
Moved by Councillor Caxero, supported by Deputy Mayor Malash. Questions? All in favor? Carries.
Report 7C, Community Services, Report number 2016-017, Electrical Vehicle Charges Ontario Program Grant. That the said report received, that Community Services Report number 2016, updating council on a recent grant received from the Ministry of Transportation for 4 Level 3 electronic charging stations be received.
Councillor Caxero moves, supported by Councillor Snively with a question. Yes, sir.
Through your worship, to Doug, where the locations, where are they going to be exactly, the locations? Is there going to be one in Colchester? Or 2?
Through your
Okay,
worship.
Director of Community Services, Mr. Sweet.
Through your worship. We submitted 5 locations, and the ministry came back with, they selected 2. At the Essex Centre Sports Complex, there'll be 2 charging stations, and at the Colchester Harbour, there'll be 2 charging stations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Councillor Caxero.
Through your worship to Mr. Sweet, when do we project that these will be in place and operational? And secondly, are we looking at recovering any monies for use of the charging stations?
The Director of Community Services, Mr. Sweet.
Through your worship, based on the agreement, they have to be up and running by the spring of 2017. So hopefully sooner, but that is the deadline. We also have to have a commitment of 5 years with the grant. Based on this charging station, it's up to the municipality to decide on a fee. They recommend between $5 and $10. Anything higher than that, they'd probably recommend that we lower it.
Further?
Further to that, is administration looking at recommending to charge a fee?
Sir?
Through your worship, at this time, we haven't had those discussions. We discussed the range, but we haven't had a formal discussion on a fee.
Councillor Vokes.
Thank you, Worship. Doug, maybe you can clear something up for me in terms of awarding of the project. Did it meet the mandate for an RFP?
Director of Community Services.
Through your worship, at this point, Essex Energy approached the town previously through Russ Phillips to ask if they could submit an application on our behalf, which we accepted. We did have a meeting with them, but currently there is nothing formally in place with any partner.
So when you say nothing in place with any partner, are we stand alone on this?
Through your worship, so we had some inquiries and we're having a meeting tomorrow afternoon to discuss the process.
To discuss the RFP process?
Correct.
Okay. Anything further? All in favor? Oh, sorry. I did have one question. Forgot myself. In the report, Doug, it said number 3, like there's only a couple, like I've lost it on here. It said there was only one. Number 3, and that was in Commer, but it said earlier in the report that ours were number 3, is what I thought I read.
Through your worship, it's the type. So the level 3 is a quick charge. Based on the information we received, there's one other quick charge in Comber. So we will have level 3s now in our municipality.
Thank you very much. Okay, we're ready.
Report 7D, Community Services, Report number 2016-015, Special Events Resource Team May Update, Report for receipt and recommending that Council waive the excessive noise bylaw 690 on Saturday, June 18th from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. for the Herald Legion's car show and outdoor patio music event.
Moved by Councillor Caxero, supported by Councillor Snively. Any questions? Councillor Vokes.
Would this be concerning to the upcoming car show we're having and music festival, Doug? In terms of exemption of following the same thing?
Through your worship, no, this event actually is having a hospice band playing outside on their outdoor patio. just because of residential, this is a requirement.
Okay. Anything further? All in favor? Motion carries.
Report 7E, Corporate Services, Report Number Clerk 2016-002, Quarter Revision for Jenner Drain, with the recommendation that 3 council members be appointed to sit as members of the Quarter Revision for the date to be scheduled for Monday, June 6, 2016 at 4:30 in these council chambers.
Looking for volunteers first. Deputy Mayor Malash, now we will be just getting home from FCM. Yeah. I plan on being home in time also, but you never know when you're out of town, so. Councillor Snively, Deputy Mayor Malash, Councillor Caxero.
Through your worship, certainly I can volunteer, but maybe we should have a couple of backups in case, because I believe our flights come in at 1 or 1:30. So,
Yes. Okay, we have the 3. Anyone want to volunteer in case something happens to us? Are they able to?
I
Councillor
can.
Bondi?
I just might have a mini-me with me that
Okay.
day.
Okie dokie. All in favor of those 3 and backup? Thanks. Thank you very much.
I'll be back there.
Your Worship, we need a motion to receive on that.
Motion received. Deputy Mayor Malash and Councillor Snively, any questions? All in favor? Motion carries.
Item 7F, Planning Report 2016-015, the Canadian Radio Communications and Information Service. Said report for receipt and for Council's concurrence with the recommendations authorizing the Canadian Radio Communications and Information Service and its staff to act as the authorized representative of the Land Use Authority for the purpose of receiving and acting upon all radio communications applications, reporting to and working with the policy planner or a member of staff which the policy planner may designate.
Moved by Councillor Bjorkman and supported by Councillor Caxero. Question, Councillor Bjorkman?
Thank you, through your worship. Are we anticipating a new tower going up in the near future? Just reading through the letter, a lot of it pertained to that.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, no, I have no knowledge of anything proposed at this time.
Thank you. Any further? All in favor? Motion carries.
Report 7G, Corporate Services, Report Number 2016-06, Year-End Transfers to Reserves, Operating Budget, with the recommendation that said report be received and that the unused budget amounts for incomplete items, as identified in Schedule A to that report, be transferred to reserves.
Moved by Councillor Bondi, supported by Councillor Caxero. Questions? In favor? Carries.
And Report 7H, Building Department, Report Number 2016-04, the April 2016 Building Report.
Moved by Councillor Caxero, supported by Councillor Bjorkman. Questions? All in favor? Motion carries.
Item 8 on the agenda, Your Worship, is correspondence. 8A, correspondence to be received by Council. That the correspondence listed in agenda items 8A 1 to 7 be received, and where indicated to further share such information with the community using suitable methods of communication.
Moved by Councillor Vokes, Councillor Caxero supports, Councillor Vokes.
Thank you, Worship. Again, in terms of the correspondence that we send out, I take this as we sent something from the mayor of the town of Essex and Amherstburg to the Ministry of Long-Term Health, I assume, is what we done.
We have Mrs. Hunter, Acting CAO and Director of Corporate Services to answer.
Through your worship, yes, there was a letter sent from the two mayors from both Amherstburg and Essex to the minister to ask that the funding for the administrative support for the McGregor Health Centre be approved.
Thank you. And the reason I asked that question is because here we are. It's like a reflex with no follow. And I know that administration is only doing their job in terms of what council directs them to do. But when I look at the long-term care facilities in specifically in this area, I think on average our long-term care patrons get like 11 minutes a day of care. And then we send a letter that says, hey, we got to do something about that. And where I have the problem with that or the concern with that is in terms of follow-up of that. Because I see a letter being launched to them, and I somehow picture this person sitting in their cubicle getting this letter, and it just goes in the pile. Her pile starts 3 inches deep in the morning. By the time she goes home at night, it's 2 feet deep, and it just goes in the pile. And the question is that as a council, we do it a lot. We reach out, we support, but our problem is we don't follow up. We don't tie that loose end up. Even if they send something saying they received it, and then ask for a answer back, because all we do is it goes that way, and there's no rebound to it. If somebody was to say to us 3 months from now, hey, remember that? Where are you with that? All our answer would be is nowhere. And when we represent the elderly in our community, that's wrong. We shouldn't be doing that. We should be able to say to a family who has an elderly person being challenged with underutilized facility, that here's what we're doing for you, and here's the answer we got. I don't like sending letters with no substance to them. We just send them. That's not doing our job. That's just sending a letter. That's all that's doing. So I really would like to even formulate another letter that says council has requested a response to what you're going to do as it relates to long-term care facility.
Okay.
Because it's too open-ended, and it's not proactive. It's just a reflex. That's all it is. And reflexes are not healthy for anybody involved, and certainly the elderly, by all means, because if we don't take care of them here, nobody's going to take care of them. And they rely on us to do that.
Okay, with the comment is Acting CEO and Director of Corporate Services, Mrs. Hunter.
Through your worship to Councillor Vokes, this is the second letter that we've sent as a letter of support from. The first one was strictly from our municipality to the minister. That letter was sent directly over to our MPP's office, and then our MPP followed up with us afterwards as to the outcome. In this particular one, it went straight to our MPP's office again, and I had a conversation with his assistant, and they are following up, and we usually have communication back from his office advising. Typically, we'll follow up on any letters that we send to ministers. They don't happen as quickly as we'd like, but we certainly follow up.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. Don't nobody read me wrong. But to hand it to an MPP is part of the protocol. I get that. It's part of the recognizing the structure. But if this council is requesting or sending a letter, then this council should be responded to. Because I represent specifically those people. Actually, when I was in my election, I had all the right in the world to walk into Eiler Lodge, which I did, by the way, and talk to those people in there because I represent them. So when I send a letter off, I don't want the answer to go to the MPP. I want it to come to me. And then I want to respond to that. That's what I want, because I want to take care of those elderly people. It's important to me. As a matter of fact, it's a priority with me. So, and that's why I'm raising this here tonight.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Malash.
Through you, Your Worship. The letter from Niagara Region on Lyme disease. There's been a lot of discussion over the last 5 years I sit on the board of directors for the health unit, Windsor Essex Health Unit, and I know that even at the health unit level, we wish that there was better testing done than what currently exists here in Ontario. If you go to Michigan, it's a much more stringent test than and much more predictable than it is here in Ontario. And the people that suffer with Lyme disease here in Ontario are quite often misdiagnosed, and takes a very long time to finally come to the outcome that it's Lyme disease. I would suggest that we would like, and I'm going to make a motion that we do react to this letter from the Niagara region and ask, as they are asking, the province of Ontario and the government of Canada to put more research money and better treatment towards the long-term outcomes of Lyme disease. So that's my motion on that letter. Well,
Have a
I
motion.
think you've got a motion on the floor already, but I'd like to pull this one out and make a motion on it when it's time.
Any other topics here? Councillor Bjorkman.
Thank you, Your Worship. Topic number 5, the call to support for Fort McMurray. I believe that we have a disaster fund of $1,000.
Yes, that's what we have left in that fund.
Yeah, and I would like to make a motion that we take 500 from that, because they're going to make sure, AIM will make sure that the federal government and the provincial government matches the monies that they're raising. So I'd like to make a motion that we take $500 from that fund.
At the proper time,
At the proper
allow me to make that. Anyone want to discuss any one of these other items? Councillor Snively.
Through your worship, the one town of Essex on the Marathon Petroleum facility, didn't we send a letter on our behalf too, didn't we? Yes. Did that letter get sent through your worship? Donna, did that letter get sent out?
Through your worship, I believe so. Robin is confirming that that was sent out.
Through your worship, definitely. We sent that approximately a month ago.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to make sure it got sent out.
Okay. Anything further? Deputy Mayor Malash. Oh, all in favor of receiving these?
Received, yeah.
Motion carries. Deputy Mayor Malash.
Thank you, through your worship. So I'd like to make a motion that the town of Essex agree with the Niagara region's resolution, and that we as well send a letter to the province of Ontario to increase funding for research aimed at enhancing the testing for Lyme disease. We request the government of Canada to increase funding for research aimed to enhance the testing for Lyme disease, and further to determine better treatment for long-term outcomes of Lyme disease. And this be forwarded to AMO, the leaders of all 3 provincial parties. And I probably should go to all of our local communities, municipalities, including the City of Windsor.
I have a motion on the floor. Need a seconder. Councillor Caxero. Any questions? All in favor? Motion carries. Councillor Bjorkman.
Thank you, Worship. I'd like to make a motion that we take $500 from our disaster relief fund and send that through AMO to support people in Fort McMurray.
Moved by Councillor Bjorkman, supported by Councillor Bondi. Any questions? Councillor Oakes.
Not a question, but a point is that I will sign myself and my wife Shelley will give another $100 towards a fund through my next council remuneration this month. So if anybody wants to meet me on that challenge, then I'm up for it. But I will be submitting 100 on behalf of myself and my wife Shelley.
Thank you, sir. Any further discussion? All in favor of that motion? Motion carries.
Item 8B, correspondence to be considered for receipt and support by council. Elk Solutions, Inc. acknowledgement and Elk Energy, Inc. acknowledgement and resolutions of the voting shareholder. That council acknowledged receipt of the financial statements for the year ending December 31st. Also acknowledged receipt of the resolutions of Elk Energy appointing KPMG as auditor and appointment of the directors, and that the mayor be authorized to sign said documents on behalf of the town of Essex.
Moved by Councillor Caxero, Deputy Mayor Milano supports. Any questions? All in favor? Motion carries.
Item 9, committee meeting minutes. That the respective minutes contained in items 9A through to 9B be adopted as presented, together with approval of any noted recommendations.
Moved by Councillor Snivy, supported by Councillor Caxero. Any questions? All in favor? Motion carries.
Under item 11, new business, first order of new business being bylaw 1518, being a bylaw to authorize the execution of an offer to connect agreement with Elk Energy Inc., with the recommendation for council to give first, second, and third readings to said bylaw.
I was going to... Point of clarification, I think you mentioned only A and B.
Oh, that's what we're just discussing, okay?
Oh, okay. Your worship, sorry about that. I thought the motion passed on, with respect to item 9, committee meeting minutes, was for the minutes contained in items 9A to E to be adopted as presented, together with approval of any noted recommendations. I believe, your worship, that was the motion. So just for clarification, 9A through to 9E.
It has been taken care of.
Okay.
Okay,
Sorry about that, your worship.
no problem.
So moving over to item 11 under new business, item 11A being bylaw 1518, once again being a bylaw to authorize the execution of an offer to connect agreement with Elk Energy Inc., with recommendation for council to give first, second, and third reading.
By Councillor Bonnie, supported by Councillor Bjorkman. Questions? Councillor Caxero.
Through your worship, I guess to the acting CEO, Mrs. Hunter. I just wanted a location. There was only a legal description. I'm not too sure where this is at.
Through you, your worship, this is one of the new pump house for the sanitary sewer project that's currently underway.
Anything further? All in favor? Motion carries.
Item 11B under new business added this evening is Councillor Bondi speaking to the May 25th public meeting concerning Harrow High School property and facility.
Councillor Bundy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to remind the community of the meeting in Harrow on May 25th at 6 o'clock at the Harrow Portuguese Club. We're meeting to talk about other options and future options for the Harrow High School, and kind of like a brainstorming session, and to give the community a recap of everything that we've also been doing. Unfortunately, I'll be arriving a little bit late. Essex County Library is also striking that night at 6 o'clock at the Essex Library branch, because we're in potential strike position. So if you don't see me there, it's just because I'm coming. I can't be in two places at once that night. But just wanted to get the word out there that we're having another public meeting about the high school. Thank you.
While we're on that subject, if you don't see me there, when you get there, it's because I've got, I think, 7 or 8 items that evening that I've been asked to attend, so.
Item 11C, new business, Councillor Bondi speaking to the Ontario-wide referendum.
Councillor Bondi.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm not sure if everybody's got the word out about this yet, but there's an Ontario-wide referendum on healthcare coming up on May 28th. So what we're doing is the local health coalition is setting out ballots, mostly in Windsor, but we have some county locations too. I have 2 for Harrow Centre. So we'll be doing a lot of canvassing of the businesses. So there's a little flyer to speak about some recent health cuts in Ontario. And unfortunately, we've had a lot of health cuts and no increases in the last 8 years. We rank second last in Canada for hospital funding. And, you know, we're reducing nurses and beds, and we have less nursing care per patient. So it's really become an issue, and momentum is really building up. So I have ballots, and anybody here can catch me after and vote. Councillor Vokes and Councillor Bjorkman have already voted. They were the first 2 votes of the night. So it's kind of a formal process, too. So you have to sign the sheet to ensure that you're not voting more than once, and then you get a ballot and you put it in the box. So there's advanced voting now up until May 28th, and May 28th is the last day. So look for locations around you, and there's also a flyer to go along with it that tells you a little bit more. And I don't know, I'm open to questions if any council colleagues have questions, but I thought this is something that's important to us. We're always, you know, fighting for improvements in healthcare in Essex Council, so I thought it would be nice to have a little notice about what's going on in our community.
Thank you. Any questions, Councillor Bondi? No. Don't forget to get us all. Okay.
Item 13, bylaws that require a third and final reading. Bylaw number 1511, being a bylaw to provide rules of procedure for the conduct of meetings of the municipal council and its committees and boards.
Councillor Caxero moves, supported by Councillor Bjorkman. Questions? All in favor? Carries.
Bylaw number 1512, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the May 2nd, 2016 regular council meeting.
Deputy Mayor Meloche moves, supported by Councillor Caxero. Questions? All in favor? Carries.
Item 13B, bylaws that require a first, second, and third reading. Bylaw number 1515, being a bylaw to provide for the indemnification of an employee of the corporation of the town of Essex against loss or liability while acting on behalf of the town.
Moved by Councillor Bjorkman, supported by Councillor Vokes. Any questions? All in favor? Motion carries.
Item 13C, bylaws that require a first and second reading. Bylaw number 1514, being a bylaw to provide for the drain, ground, and enclosure replacement at 7053 County Road 11.
Okay. Moved by Councillor Snively, supported by Councillor Caxero. Questions? All in favor? Motion carries.
Bylaw number 1516, being a bylaw to authorize the execution of an agreement, the pathway to potential funding between the Corporation of the Town of Essex and the Corporation of the City of Windsor for first and second reading.
Deputy Mayor Meloche moves, supported by Councillor Caxero. Questions? All in favor? Motion carries.
And bylaw number 1517, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the May 16th, 2016 regular meeting.
Moved by Councillor Bjorkman, supported by Councillor Caxero. Questions? All in favor? Motion carries.
Motion to adjourn.
Yes. Would you have anything to say, young lady, this evening? I saw you jotting things down. Nothing to report?
Make sure you vote.
No, nothing to say? Well, thanks for showing up anyway. Looking for a motion to adjourn. Councillor Bjorkman and Councillor Vokes. Questions? All in favor? Motion carries. Have a great night, everyone.